Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. The air in Central City crackled with energy as lightning arced across the night sky. Barry Allen, better known as the Flash, raced through the streets, his mind focused entirely on the villain he was chasing, Reverse Flash. The streets blurred beneath his feet, a streak of red and yellow twisting through the city as the two speedsters zipped between skyscrapers, their movements too fast for the human eye to follow. Reverse Flash was grinning, his sinister eyes locked on Barry. All right, come on, Barry, catch me if you can. Barry's heart pounded in his chest, his breath sharp with every step. He could feel the edges of the speed force buzzing around him, that familiar energy that allowed him to move faster than anyone could ever imagine. But tonight, something felt different. Off Reverse Flash had led him to a place in the city that he didn't recognize, a part of the skyline that seemed to shimmer with an odd, unsettling glow. You won getaway this time, Barry shouted, pushing himself faster. But just as he prepared to make his move, Reverse Flash turned, laughing as his foot smashed into the ground, sending a shockwave rippling through the street. Barry's eyes widened in horror as the ground cracked beneath him, and suddenly, the world around him began to warp. Time itself seemed to bend, the buildings stretching and twisting in impossible ways. The air grew dense, charged with an energy that felt like it was tearing at the seams of reality. Barry Allen. Reverse Flash hissed, his grin widening as he stood in the epicenter of the disturbance. Before Barry could react, the rift opened, a swirling vortex of light and shadow burst from the ground, engulfing them both. Barry felt the pull of the speed force drag him into the rift, the sensation of being torn apart and reassembled all at once, overwhelming him. His mind raced, trying to comprehend what had happened, but all he could see was the blinding light swallowing him whole. Barry landed hard on a concrete rooftop, his vision spinning as he struggled to regain his balance. He groaned, pulling himself to his feet, his head pounding with the remnants of whatever Reverse Flash had done. When he looked around, he realized this wasn't Teschel City anymore. The skyline was familiar, but different. Darker, grimmer. It was Gotham City. How did I end up here? Barry muttered, rubbing the back of his head. He shook off the dizziness, his instincts kicking in. The air here was thick with tension, a palpable weight that made his skin crawl. It was Gotham, but not his Gotham. There was something wrong with the way the city looked, like it was fractured somehow. A shadow moved in the distance, darting between buildings. Barry tensed, recognizing the silhouette, instantly Batman. Barry raced toward the figure, his speed cutting through the night like a knife. As he neared, he called out, "It's Bruce. I got a problem." But when the figure turned, it wasn't Bruce Wayne, not the Bruce Wayne Barry knew. This Batman was different. His armor was darker, bulkier, with jagged edges and a menacing design that screamed intimidation. His eyes glowed red beneath the cowl, and his mouth curled into a snarl. "Who are you?" Barry asked, slowing to a stop, his heart sinking as he realized this wasn't his friend. The Batman in front of him stepped forward, his voice cold and devoid of any warmth. "Terry, I am vengeance. I am the Knight." Barry swallowed hard. This wasn't Tyrion the Bruce he knew. This was an alternate version of Batman 1 from a universe where Gotham had pushed him too far, where Bruce Wayne had lost all hope and given in to the darkness. His every move oozed malice, his very presence radiating an aura of fear. "I don't know who you think you are, Flash," the dark Batman growled. "Oh, hi, but this Gotham is mine, and no one leaves alive." Without warning, the dark Batman lunged forward, throwing a barrage of gadgets and fists at Barry. Barry barely dodged the attack, his instincts kicking in as he moved at super speed. But even at his fastest, he could feel the power and brutality of this Batman's attack. This wasn't the Bruce who fought for justice. This was a man consumed by his own darkness, willing to kill without a second thought. "Bruce, stop," Barry shouted, trying to reason with him as he dodged another strike. "Here I am, not your enemy." The dark Batman southwest connected with Barry, sending him skidding across the rooftop. Barry groaned, the pain searing through his ribs. He had fought with Bruce countless times, but this was something different. There was no restraint, no code. This Batman was ruthless. As Barry struggled to catch his breath, the dark Batman stood over him, his shadow looming. "Yes, there is no Bruce Wayne here." He hissed. "There, only the Bat." "Death." Before the final blow could land, a familiar voice cut through the night. "That is enough." The dark Batman paused, his head snapping up as another figure stepped out of the shadow. This Batman was different. His armor lighter, more refined, with a symbol of hope emblazoned across his chest. His eyes were sharp, filled with determination, but they lacked the same malevolent glow. Barry blinked in surprise. The new Batman nodded, his expression calm yet focused. Barry, it's me. The two Batmen stood facing each other, the contrast between them stark and undeniable. One was a symbol of darkness, the other of justice. Barry could feel the tension in the air, a tension that only grew as the rift in time flickered above them, pulsating with chaotic energy. I am here to help, the lighter Batman said, his voice steady as he looked at his darker counterpart. Here, this isn't who you are. The dark Batman sneered. I know exactly who I am. No, the lighter Batman said, stepping forward. You hadn't forgotten. You've lost your way. Barry watched as the two versions of Bruce stared each other down, the weight of their confrontation hanging in the balance. The time rift had brought them together, but it was up to them to decide whether they would destroy each other or find a way to fix the fracture. The night grew heavier as Barry, bruised but determined, stood beside the lighter Batman. They had to find a way to fix this before the rift tore reality apart. The dark Batman's red eyes flickered with hatred as he drew a batarang from his belt. There's nothing left to fix. This world belongs to the Bat, all of them. Barry's heart raced. The rift above them pulsed violently, a growing storm of chaotic energy that threatened to consume everything. He had to think fast, had to find a way to stop this before it was too late. But the longer he stood there, the more he realized that this wasn't just about stopping the dark Batman. This was about Bruce, his Bruce, and helping him find himself again. Barry turned to the lighter Batman. All of you, I think it's amplifying your worst fears, your darkest impulses. The lighter Batman's jaw clenched. So what do? We stop it together, Barry said. But first, we have to help him. The dark Batman laughed, his voice dripping with malice. Help me there. Snow helping me flash this city is mine. Barry could feel the weight of the moment bearing down on him. Time was running out, and the longer they stood in this fractured version of Gotham, the closer the entire reality came to collapsing. He wasn't just fighting a battle against an evil version of Batman. He was racing against the clock to save the very fabric of the multiverse. The dark Batman sneered, the red glow of his eyes casting an eerie light over his face. I don't need your help. Flash I've already made my peace with what I am. This city, this world is better under my rule. Barry felt a shiver run down his spine. The rift in time had pulled this darker version of Bruce to the surface, amplifying every twisted thought and fear Bruce had ever buried. He couldn't fix this alone. He needed his Bruce, the Bruce who still believed in hope and justice, to step up. Bruce, Barry called out, turning to the lighter Batman. You have to confront him. You know him better than anyone. The lighter Batman clenched his fists, his jaw tightening beneath his cowl. There he's not me. He's not just a possibility. But he could be you, Barry said, his voice low. That's why this is happening. You've always struggled the line between darkness and light, and the rift in time is exploiting that. You have to remind him and yourself what it means to be Batman. The lighter Batman stared at his darker counterpart, the two versions of Bruce locked in an unspoken struggle. The dark Batman's eyes burned with hatred, while the lighter Batman's gaze was filled with determination. I want to let you destroy everything, the lighter Batman said, his voice firm. Our Gotham is a symbol of hope. You've forgotten that. The dark Batman laughed, the sound cold and hollow. Help there's no hope in this world. Only fear. Fear is what keeps Gotham in line. Fear is what keeps me in control. The lighter Batman stepped forward, his cape billowing in the wind. Fear isn't true control, it's not the weapon, and when you rely on it, you lose sight of what truly matters, protecting the people. The dark Batman's expression twisted into a snarl. You think you read so righteous done to you, but we read the same. You and I, you read just too weak to admit it. No, the lighter Batman said, his voice steady. We read not the same. I made a choice to believe in something better, and I won trade. Let you take that away from me. The tension between the two Batmen was palpable, the air crackling with the energy of the rift above them. Barry watched as they circled each other, their movements precise, controlled. This wasn't just a physical battle. It was a battle of ideologies, of identity. Barry's mind raced, trying to think of a way to stop the confrontation before it escalated. He knew that if the two Batmen clashed, the time rift would only grow stronger, feeding off the chaos and confusion. They needed to find a way to come together to merge their fragmented selves back into one cohesive whole. But how? As the two Batmen prepared to strike, Barry felt a surge of energy ripple through the ground. The rift above them pulsed its chaotic energy, growing stronger with every passing second. He could see the fabric of reality beginning to warp around them, Gotham's skyline shifting and twisting in ways that defied logic. Barry, the lighter Batman, said, his voice calm but urgent. The rift is getting worse. If we don't fix this soon, everything will collapse. I know, Barry replied, his heart pounding in his chest. But we can. Just fight our way out of this. We need to. Suddenly, the dark Batman lunged forward, his fists swinging toward the lighter Batman with brutal precision. The lighter Batman countered, their movements a blur of punches, kicks, and evasion. It was like watching two sides of the same coin, each one trying to prove their dominance over the other. Barry gritted his teeth. He couldn't let this go on. Terry, stop. He shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. This isn't here the way. Neither Batman listened. The fight between them only intensified, each blow sending shockwaves through the fractured city. Barry could feel the tremors beneath his feet, the rift and time feeding off the conflict. He had to act. In a split-second decision, Barry tapped into the speed force, his body vibrating with the energy as he accelerated toward the two Batmen. Moving faster than a blink, he positioned himself between them, his arms outstretched to block their blows. Enough, Barry shouted, his voice ringing out with authority. This ends now. Both Batmen froze, their fists inches away from Barry's fate. The dark Batman's eyes glowed with fury, while the lighter Batman's expression was one of shock. You think you can stop this flash? The dark Batman hissed.
You don't understand, Wilson.
I understand perfectly, Barry replied, his voice steady. Agree, you were both part of the same person. And that's why this fight is tearing reality apart. You read two halves of a whole that can exist without each other. The lighter Batman's eyes narrowed. Fair, what are you saying, Barry? Barry turned to him, his expression serious. The only way to fix this is for you to accept all parts of yourself, even the darkness. You can't keep running from it. You have to face it head on. The lighter Batman looked conflicted, his brow furrowing beneath his cowl. But if I accept him, if I accept the darkness, what happens to the man I've become? You don't lose who you are. Barry said softly, you become whole, stronger, more balanced. But you have to make the choice. The dark Batman scoffed. You really think I am just going to roll over and let you take control? I am the Bat I've survived because I embraced the darkness. Barry shook his head. You've survived, but you've lost everything that makes you who you are. You've become a tyrant, consumed by fear. That's not survival, that's defeat. The dark Batman's sized fists tightened, his jaw clenched. For a moment, Barry thought he would attack again. But then, something shifted in the dark Batman's eyes, a flicker of doubt, of recognition. The lighter Batman stepped forward, his gaze locked on his darker counterpart. I want to let you destroy what we've built. You're a part of me. Yes, but you don't define me. The dark Batman snarled, but his movement slowed as if the fight had been drained from him. You think you were better than me? You think you were stronger? I think I've learned, the lighter Batman said, his voice calm and steady. I've learned that it's not just about fear, it's about hope too, and that's what makes me strong. The dark Batman's shoulders slumped, the red glow in his eyes dimming. Barry watched, holding his breath as the two Batmen stood face to face, the tension between them slowly dissipating. The rift above them pulsed one last time, its chaotic energy flickering as the two versions of Bruce Wayne finally came to an understanding. The lighter Batman reached out, placing a hand on his darker counterpart's shoulder. You were a part of me, he said quietly. The dark Batman's eyes flickered, and for a moment, he looked human, vulnerable. Side-eye, I thought fear was all I had left. It's not, the lighter Batman said. And with those words, the rift in time began to close. Barry could feel the energy around them shifting, the warped reality slowly stabilizing as the two Batmen became one. The darkness that had consumed the darker Batman began to fade, merging with the light until there was only one Bruce Wayne, left, a man who had faced his deepest fears and come out the other side stronger. The city around them returned to normal, the fractured skyline smoothing out as the rift finally sealed shut. Barry let out a breath. He hadn't realized he'd been holding the weight of the moment lifting from his shoulder. "It's an race, away," his voice quiet. Bruce, the real Bruce, turned to him, his expression tired but resolute. "It's arcade." Barry nodded, a small smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "You did it." Bruce looked out over the city, his eyes thoughtful. "Our number. We did it together." Barry felt a surge of relief wash over him. The multiverse had been saved, the rift in time healed. But more importantly, Bruce had faced the darkest parts of himself and come through stronger, more whole than ever before. As they stood together on the rooftop, the night calm once more, Barry knew that their bond as friends and as heroes had been tested and forged anew. And somewhere, deep within the shadows of Gotham, a faint glimmer of hope remained.